Howdy, welcome back to more JTReacts, and today we're taking a trip up north to my Canadian brothers and sisters, because we are checking out the 25 funny differences. They're supposed to be funny, so if they're not funny, hey, I'm sorry, that's what the title says. 25 funny differences between Canadians and Americans. So we're about to get into it. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 20K over here. I appreciate you guys, I love you guys so much. If y'all want to see more Canadian reactions, let me know by hitting that like button, but other than that, let's get on up into it.
Canada and the US have somewhat of a love-hate relationship. It's a sibling rivalry that goes back centuries. So, what exactly are the differences between the two?
See, like, that kind of makes sense. A sibling rivalry. I hate English, I do. But no, I feel like America and Canada are definitely siblings, and then like America and the UK, like the UK is like our father, or like our grandfather or something, you know?
Today, we're going to take a look at how the longest unprotected border in the world has defined North America. I'm Mike with List 25, and these are 25 funny differences between Canadians and Americans.
Here we go.
Canadians tend to trust authority, whereas Americans are suspicious of it. This goes back to the fact that the Canadians remained loyal to the crown, while America showed King George the door.
True.
24.
Canadians bond over hockey. Americans bond over football. In general, Canadians also put less emphasis on sports.
Yeah.
20.
I'll be honest, I have never, ever in my life watched a single second of hockey. And I'll be honest, I'll be even more honest with you. I don't plan on it. Hockey just doesn't interest me for some reason. I feel like if I got into it, I would probably love it, but just like, I don't know. It just is not interesting to me. If I should try to get into hockey, y'all let me know. We might do some reactions or something.
23.
Canadians spend a lot of time comparing themselves to the US. Americans don't think about Canada very often at all.
Hey.
Actually, almost never.
No, that ain't true. No, I wake up in the morning, I stretch, I'm like, oh, another day. I wonder how Canada's doing. I do it every day, I swear. I feel like Canada just like, y'all be minding y'all's business. So like people don't really think about Canada that much. Because y'all just be up there just chilling, just vibing, you know?
I love you, Ken.
I do love Canada.
And all my Canadian friends.
I do.
This is in jest, dear God.
22.
Some parts of Canada sell milk in bags. Bagged milk would be highly suspicious in the US.
Bagged milk? How do you... What? Do you just have to use it as soon as you open it? Like, do you cut it open and you just have to use all of it? How do you save it? Do you put it in a container or something? Yeah, no, that's weird. That's strange. Bagged milk. I'm pretty sure the UK does that too. Like, y'all know, we got the big old jugs, the big old gallon, and it has a top on it, so like you can use a little bit, pour you a cup, and then put the cap back on it. But would you do that with bags? I feel like that would go bad very quickly.
I'd totally drink it. Milk's great.
Yeah, no, I love milk. I would definitely drink it still. But just like, how do you save it? Like, I feel like you just instantly have to use it as soon as you open it.
Beverage. No, absolutely.
No, milk is fantastic.
Milk is the best
Yes.
beverage in the world.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And it comes in chocolate.
Yeah. I actually don't like chocolate as much.
That's weird.
I prefer white. I can do it. I prefer... Oh.
Anna thinks it's the weirdest thing, but I would prefer a glass of milk, white, just regular white milk, 2%, 1% whole milk, I don't care. A glass of white milk over any beverage. I love milk. I will drink milk with anything. Supper, when I sit down for supper, it could be the best food you could ever imagine. It's not gonna be as good if I don't have a glass of milk to wash it down with. I mean, if we make a pizza, I'm drinking milk with pizza. Literally, my last meal, if I could have a last meal, double cheeseburger, hamburger helper, crescent rolls on the side, and a big old glass of milk. It's the best thing in this world. I love milk.
21.
The US sees itself as a melting pot. That was a good restaurant. While Canada sees itself as a mosaic. The difference is very slight, but basically in the US, there's more mixing and blending between immigrant cultures, while in Canada, immigrants tend to keep more of their language and traditions rather than mix with others.
Oh.
20.
See, that's cool, though. Like, yeah, you still have, like, a very diverse population. Diverse? There we go, diverse. But, like, they don't come in and try to just, like, change their culture and their way of living to the Canadian or the American style. They still have their culture and they still speak their language and all that. They just live in Canada. So I like that. That's cool.
Canadians have more of a tall poppy syndrome, which is a tendency to distrust or discredit anyone who stands out in a prominent position or wealth. In this sense, Canada is a lot more like Europe. Conformity is more encouraged in Canada than in the US. If America does well at anything, it's encouraging innovation and non-conformity.
19.
Canadians love their flag, but Americans seem to love their flag more.
Yeah.
Seriously, nobody beats America at flags.
I will say the Canadian flag is very iconic. Like, y'all have a really good flag.
Can't beat Canadians at maple syrup, though.
18.
Canadians put more emphasis on higher education. Actually, Canada puts more emphasis on it than any other country in the world.
Dang.
It leads the OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, with 53% of the population having a college education. The
53%? Goodness. Look at y'all little smarty pantses. Goodness.
The OECD average is 32%.
17.
Is college free in Canada? Like, do y'all have to pay for college? I feel like that would make a big difference. But still, 52% has a college education. That is crazy. Y'all some smarty pantses up there. Goodness.
Canadians generally approve of their government. Americans hate and distrust theirs. This boils down to the fact that the Canadians see government as a good thing, while Americans see it as a necessary evil.
16.
I mean, I don't know. I guess it kind of depends on who you ask. Everybody has their own opinions on the government and all that. Every other person you talk to here in America about, like, the government, they're like, no, I don't trust them, I don't like it. Which, like, I feel like it shouldn't be like that, you know? I feel like we should trust our government, and yeah, government is a good thing, you know? They're trying to help us, so.
Americans are more individualistic. This goes back to the Wild West mentality. The very word Canada, on the other hand, is derived from a local Iroquoian word for village. Canadians are more communally minded.
Huh.
15.
Canada's right wing is America's left wing. In the political sense, Canadian politics tend to be more liberal. This doesn't mean that Canada doesn't have conservative politics. It certainly does. The political system is a lot less polarized, however, and doesn't pull to the extremes as much. It has 5 primary political parties.
Dang.
14.
That's a lot. I wish America had more, like, primary political parties instead of just Republican and Democrat, you know? Like, everybody feels like you have to be a part of those two, because if you're not, like, it's kind of pointless. So, like, if you vote for an independent or a different party, they're most likely not going to win, you know? So I wish we had more parties that were, like, really up there, to where, like, if you didn't agree with the Republican or Democrat and you agreed with this third party, I wish they actually had a chance of, like, winning, you know? So
Both Americans and Canadians think they're more free. In Canada, this is due to more progressive policies. In the US, it's due to lack of government policies.
Huh.
13.
Americans are more confrontational. Not necessarily in a bad way, but Canadians are more likely to just hold everything in and let it stew. Or apologize.
12.
Well, that ain't good. Let it out. Let it out. Don't hold it in. That's bad for you.
Canadians pretend Canada has no problems. America pretends the US just has quirks.
Shoot.
11.
Canadians don't get to experience the joys of Pandora and Spotify due to licensing restrictions.
What? First off, I haven't heard the name Pandora in like 7 years. When did this video come out? 7 years ago. That makes sense. Pandora fell off. That used to be the biggest thing. Y'all don't have Spotify? Y'all let me know. I feel like y'all have Spotify now. Maybe back then you didn't, but now I feel like y'all have to. It's just everybody has Spotify.
10.
Although Canadians do feel quite a bit of connection with their province/city, Americans identify much more with their state than they do with the country as a whole.
Yeah.
Except for Quebec, Canada's Texas.
9.
Canadians talk about the War of 1812 a lot. Americans aren't quite sure what that is. Boston Tea Party, anyone?
It
8.
happened in 1812. That's all I know.
Canadians are more passive-aggressive. A good example of this would be tribalism and all of its derivatives. While it's more overt in the US, that doesn't mean it's any less in Canada. It just comes out in a more backhanded fashion.
7,
Canadians brag about how cold it is, while Americans brag about how warm it is. Unless you live in Minnesota, then you're basically Canadian.
Yeah. I don't brag. I never brag about the weather because as soon as you start bragging about the weather, it changes, especially here in Kentucky. Like today. Yesterday, it was 75 degrees and sunny. Beautiful day. Perfect day. Today, it's like 40 degrees and raining. It's terrible. If you're Canadian, let me know, do you actually like the cold? Like, do you love the cold? Or would you rather it actually be warm sometimes?
Americans are much more polarized on almost everything. But then again, there are more people in just California than all of Canada.
Dang.
So it makes sense that Canadians would be more unified.
Yeah.
5,
In the US, talking about American politics is taboo. But in Canada, talking about American politics is a national pastime.
Hey.
4,
Canadians are more likely to take off their shoes in the house. Of course, this depends on location, but in many parts of the US, walking with shoes in the house is acceptable. Maybe it's the cowboy influence.
I don't know. When I come in the house, I take my outside shoes off and put house shoes on. I just feel like that's, I don't know. Don't be dragging your muddy outside shoes all across my house, you know? But also at the same time, if like somebody comes over and they don't take their shoes off, I'm not going to get mad about it, so.
3,
Canadians think Canada is completely different from the US. Americans, on the other hand, don't notice much of a difference between the two countries. As a note, from a European perspective, any differences will seem a bit overstated.
2,
Americans have it easier when it comes to shopping online. In Canada, many stores don't offer online shopping.
Okay, listen. No, there's no way. Maybe 7 years ago, sure, but now there's absolutely no way. Y'all let me know. No.
And many of them don't even have a website to begin with.
No, that's crazy. This video is definitely outdated. Or maybe it's not, and that's still the way it is. Y'all let me know.
1,
Canada has two official languages on a national level, English and French. Americans have no official language on a national level. Each state decides whether or not to adopt English as an official language.
I call it Anglish. Anglish. We don't speak English, it's Anglish. We took the English language and just punched it 72 times. Threw it in the mud, picked it up, ran it over with our car, and then backed over it with our car again. And then that's the language we speak. So, I will say, those weren't funny. List 25. Count your days. Count them down from 25. I'm watching you. But alright guys, that is going to do it for today's reaction. There were some differences in there. The milk thing, the milk in a bag, that's definitely weird. I've heard of that before, but I just don't understand it, you know? Let me know what y'all think down in the comments. If you are from Canada, hey, welcome. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I appreciate you guys so much, and I will see y'all tomorrow.